Good evening, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero with a hot weekend outlook forecast for you. So right now, it is 89 degrees. It got into the 90s where I am. So today was what looks like the start of a heat wave. And what is a heat wave by definition? Well, that means you have 3 consecutive days in a row of 90 or more degree heat. So that's the minimum for the heat wave. But it looks like we're going to have a heat wave going for most of the week ahead. So overall, this is the weekend outlook forecast. So let's talk about the weekend. Sunday is going to be the hottest. Now, as of right now, the National Weather Service has put out excessive heat warnings and heat advisories and a whole bunch of heat-related alerts. With these heat-related alerts, they're not in effect right now. They're out there saying this is what we're going to be expecting. But it looks like we're going to be getting these starting Sunday. So today, it's hot, yes, not really humid. What's the current dew point? 57. So we have an 89 degree temperature reading and a 57 degree dew point. That means it's not humid. So with the dew point, essentially, that's the amount of moisture in the air. That's a measure of that. So what we are expecting with these moisture readings, the dew point, it's going to be in the 70s. Now you would think, 70 degrees, that's not terrible, but that's the air temperature. When you have dew point temperatures in the 50s, it's comfortable. It's not humid. Once you start getting into the 60s, it starts to feel a little bit humid. Between 65 and 70 degree dew point, that's where it's like, all right, it's getting a little sticky. Anything above 70, it really gets humid and starts to feel a little bit oppressive. Then once you get to 75 or more degree dew point, that is oppressive. That's causing, since I just had bronchitis and I got over that, that's causing breathing issues. That's what we would expect in the tropics. Like if you go down to the Bahamas, hint, I'll be doing that coming up shortly. Well, if you're anywhere in the tropics, the Caribbean, the dew points there, because you're right in the ocean and it's hot, you're going to have these dew points in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees with temperatures in the hundreds. That's the tropics. We're not getting that excessive. We are getting temperatures in the 90s to around 100 with dew points in the 70s to about the mid-70s, low to mid-70s with the dew points. Okay, it's almost tropical, so we're going to start to feel a little tropical air coming in. And this is all because we have a pretty strong high pressure in place. This high pressure, it's going to be lasting. So we're going to have... Well, that was interesting. So I've had this camera in the Bahamas on the beach in direct sunlight in 90 degree weather. It didn't overheat. It just overheated now, so I had to stop the recording, wait for the camera to cool down, and then pick it back up. So anyway, we were talking about the high pressure. High pressure's in place right now, and it's pretty strong. The center of it is going to be moving slightly east of the tri-state region. And when we have clockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere, and we have high pressure centered to the east of us, that means we have southwest flow. So all of this heat that we've been seeing in the Midwest, in the Texas area, all the way going out to New Mexico, that's coming up our way. And that's what we're going to be expecting. So hot weather coming up. Please stay cool with this and try and use just common sense. Essentially, what you want to do, stay hydrated. Once we start getting into the humid area, besides the heat, like it's 89 degrees right now, once we get into the humidity, what happens is with these high dew points, our sweating doesn't work. The human body naturally cools itself by sweating, and then the sweat evaporates off the skin, and that cools down the skin, thus cooling down the whole body. When the air is very humid, you can't really get evaporation happening because the air is fully saturated. So sweating doesn't work. So you're trying to cool down by sweating more. It's just not working, and you're using more liquid, more fluid, so you have to stay hydrated that way. Also, respiratory system. High humidity, actually, when you add water vapor into the air, it makes the air less dense. Counterintuitive because you're adding something to a mixture, making it less dense. But yes, if we add extra moisture, extra water vapor into air, it makes it less dense. So, when we're trying to breathe this less dense air, our lungs have to breathe harder. Just like when you go up into the mountains, very high mountains, these are where you get endurance hikers and endurance marathon runners training in these higher elevation areas because the air is less dense up there, so it's harder to breathe, and then you're working out the lungs harder. That feeling we're going to be getting with the high humidity as well. So these are a couple things you have to watch out for. But if you keep it cool, pun intended, then yes, we're going to have a great looking weekend. The sun, like it is right now, is going to be out all weekend long, even going into Monday, it looks like. Tuesday may bring in some showers later in the day, maybe Wednesday, a little isolated thunderstorm. Same thing for Thursday, an isolated thunderstorm chance once we really start baking in this heat. And then going into Friday, it looks like a nice sunny day. And then maybe going into next weekend, maybe another thunderstorm chance. So overall, for the week ahead, it's going to be a summer-like week for the first week of July. Now, I'm going to pose a question to all of you. This is a debate we had. A bunch of friends at both jobs. Interesting conversation with family, too. So 4th of July is Wednesday. Is the 4th of July weekend this weekend, starting tomorrow, or technically starting today? Or is the 4th of July weekend next weekend? Or is it both? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys think. So overall, I just want to end by saying, please be safe in this heat. This is something that you can't really ignore. The dew point, I've had a graphic before. The dew point is the hidden danger just because it's something you can't see that can kill you. If you don't use the proper precautions with heat and staying hydrated, heat stroke is something that is definitely a risk factor for the heat and high humidity. So keeping that in mind, it's going to be a sunny weekend. Maybe get outside. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.